Radio Free Skaro!
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Radio Free Skaro, episode number 842. I am Stephen in Edmonton.
Warren in Vancouver.
And Chrissy in Edmonton.
We're recording this on a momentous day in history. It's actually March 5th. This is going out March 6th. We're recording this Saturday morning. Today in history, I didn't realize this. Today in history is a big thing. I completely forgot to mention this in the Timelash last week. Not that the death of Joseph Stalin on March 5th, 1953 is a thing worth in the Timelash. That's not even the thing I'm mentioning. But yeah, Stalin died. If you want to go see a movie about it, The Death of Stalin is a good movie. I watched that again recently when the local politics compelled me to watch another historical leadership race that ended in disaster. Yeah, that too. No, what I'm talking about, I know this happened on actually March 4th because I looked it up. But March 5th, 2005, Warren, is when you taught me all about the wonderful technology known as BitTorrent, because that's when Rose, the leaked episode of the first episode of the modern
very
series.
Proudly. By our Canadian government, or technically.
By our Canadian government.
Yeah.
Prime
Not really the
Minister
Canadian
Stephen
government.
Harper himself.
Yeah.
Some incompetence at the CBC.
Someone at the CBC leaked it on March 4th. It was all over the internet apparently on March the 5th, and that's when I found out about BitTorrent. And I think I might have actually found it I might have watched it on March the 6th or 8th, because I think there was a time.
Despite saying you wouldn't watch it.
Yeah, like I went.
I remember that. Yes,
I went from starting the download and going first of all having Warren explain what a BitTorrent is, and then before he explained to me what a podcast was. And then I think in between me starting it and the 2 hours that it took, because it was 2005, for it to finally download, that I thought, I'm not going to watch it, and I'm going to totally watch it.
Of course you will. Come on.
I did. And
I watched it immediately.
I'm glad I did.
Immediately.
Yeah.
And then I was sad the next week because it premiered, and I was like, well, I've already seen this. I guess I'm watching it again.
Yeah, that's true. But and then you realize that literally the only thing that's different is two music cues. It's basically the original Mark Ayres stereofied version of the original Daily Derbyshire titles were on it, as opposed to the final title theme. And then the music during the walk and talk sequence, which they added as filler when the episode was running under really badly, that had a different music cue in it. And that was it.
I did not realize any of that because I'm a bad fan. However, I would like to point out that my favorite bit of that whole first episode, the part that made me go, oh, they're going to do this right, is when the doctor explains how he can actually feel time. And I'm like, oh, wait a minute, this is going to be good.
Yeah.
They brought it back and it's good. I can't believe it. How is this possible?
What are they doing here? And here's the funny thing. They didn't make any references to past Doctor Who. It's like nowadays.
Well, except for the Autons, I suppose.
Oh, I know, but they basically said these are Autons, but they didn't say, oh, I met them twice previously in history. They never did any of that. It was such a different time where you would bring back a successful property and not at all reference anything that happened before it, whereas nowadays it's oh, guess what, here comes the Boba Fett show, and let me tell you, there are references.
There's probably a wide span between that. You're going to the exact extreme here.
The 100% of the extremes, yeah.
And also Doctor Who is just as guilty of that, frankly.
Well,
even
it is
the encounter at
now,
Farpoint had McCoy.
And nothing else that was good.
It was a bad episode, man.
It was a terrible episode.
Boy, we lucked out. I mean, even though it was directed by Keith Boak and probably the production of which probably scared off Christopher Eccleston forever. But apart from that, we lucked out as Doctor Who fans to have the pilots for both the original and the modern reboot, so to speak, be really good episodes to watch for the first
I thought you were going to say we lucked out by having it leak ahead of time, which we did.
In a way, oddly enough, we had a retroactive leak of the first episode of Doctor Who because the pilot somehow existed for all these years, and they found it on a tape. So,
well, my favorite thing about the leak was that the BBC just couldn't accept that it had happened because how could they get the disc out from under us?
I love that. They said, "Where's the tape? Where's the tape?" They said, "Literally, where's the tape?" They said,
they
"Where
could
is
not
the
wrap
tape?"
their heads around. You could tell that somebody was 150 years old was in charge at the time.
Yeah. Man,
I say that it was probably somebody who was the age I am now when I say I don't understand that about practically everything I see every day. So now I'm extending sympathy back 20 years or so.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like
good
I was
old
trying to
TV.
figure out TikTok.
Yeah.
Why bother?
Yeah. Speaking of TV shenanigans, I had to laugh at Star Trek. Bear with me on this.
Again.
No. I'm not even laughing at the show because we're Warren and I are both behind. Chris, I know you've watched everything that there is to watch, but we're not going to mention what actually happened. But it's TV, and even in like 2022, possibly because of COVID and stuff, it's a bit crazy because I saw the producer, is it Michelle Paradise? On
Paradis,
Twitter.
I think.
Yeah, sorry if I mispronounced her name, but she said, "Yep, we just locked the finale for Star Trek Discovery, and like it airs in like 2 weeks. It's like drops in 2 weeks, and this is even after they took a break for 5 weeks because of production snafus or timelines. They had to actually take a break and release, which means." Because Star Trek is doing their best to have like basically a new show every single week on Paramount Plus, it means that there was an episode of Picard and an episode of Discovery that dropped on the same day, which just feels like, wow.
But they've also apparently shot season 3 of Picard already, so it goes in the opposite direction.
Or at the very least, they are shooting it. I think I don't know if they've wrapped it yet. I know they're shooting it back to back.
Seeing secondhand tweets from people, I think.
Okay.
I think they are wrapped. I could be wrong about that. But.
Oh well, it's just like all your best laid plans where you're like trying to like, okay, we got to schedule this because then this is coming out and this here and there. But like now there's like a 3-week overlap of Discovery and Picard, and they're dropping on the same day, and I'm just like, wow, that's a lot of Star Trek.
This is a time-worn observation by anybody who's worked in TV, who's worked at a much higher level than myself. It's a miracle anything gets made, let alone that it's good. So the fact that it took forever, no surprise there. That's just the ones you hear about. How many other shows that you don't care about have the exact same thing happening to them?
Oh, true. I remember
before COVID even.
Rachel Talalay tweeting out that they were finishing effect shots for World Enough in Time 2 days before broadcast.
Of course they were.
2 days before.
I mean, how many stories about films back in the days when you were delivering a film reel, where they were delivering the film reel literally wet from the lab to the
Lord of the Rings.
That's how down to the wire they were.
I think Two Towers was like literally like the van's waiting for the premiere. You got it. You got the film.
Now they're sending it over like a secure internet connection, so there's not that nonsense. Which means they'll get even more down to the wire.
Mm-hmm.
Like it doesn't mean they'll get there quicker.
Yeah, I mean, at least we know that we know when Star Trek shows are airing. We know that Doctor Who is returning the weekend of Easter, apparently, but that's it. We don't know what day. We don't know what time. We know what channel.
And I'm fine with that.
I'm not. I like to plan a podcast. We're going to do a live stream. Our live stream.
I'm just saying, compared to Star Trek and its ceaseless clockwork, because I have nothing else on Paramount Plus.
That's true. Seems a little bit. I mean, unless you, what is it? The FBI's? Are they?
I don't know.
Okay.
Like, apparently, you can get Paramount Plus in Canada, but I've never bothered to even find out. Until it all goes off Crave, I won't bother either.
That's another thing about antiquated TV deals is that on Crave. So here you go, Canada Cable Talk, everyone. Crave, which is also the home of Doctor Who, and CTV Sci-Fi, formerly Space. Which tweets like 3 times a month. They have got some antiquated deal where Discovery has to air at 6 p.m. Eastern or something on the Thursday, and then only 24 hours after that original airing can it go on to streaming on Crave, which is their streaming sort of subsidiary. But Picard just drops on streaming. So there's some really old deal that CTV, Bell Media, whatever you want to call them, signed with Paramount that says, here's where Star Trek Discovery, any new Star Trek comes, it has to air for 24 hours. And let me tell you, I stopped working in the TV industry about 6 years ago, and that sort of deal was like getting old then. And so the fact that they're still adhering to this really
Canada
awful 24-hour delay.
Always behind everybody else when it comes to
Yeah.
this. But
Does
I have
Crave-
to defend Crave for one thing. Crave is actually, if you want HBO and a bunch of other, there's a lot of good content on Crave, which is one of the bonuses of streaming in Canada.
And
you
they-
can
and
get
they
it all
s-
one place.
And
until
they
you
sort
can't.
of, and they removed a lot of the tiers too. Anyway, when you say that, Chris, about Crave.
Does Crave do Lower Decks?
Yes, it does. Any Star Trek is
Yeah.
any and all Star Trek. That's
Is there
the
a-
two reasons
is-
I have. Well, three reasons: HBO Max, all Star Treks of any sort, and Doctor Who, all the new Doctor Who. That's the main reason I have Crave.
Is there a delay on when Lower Decks drops?
I don't think so, but I haven't really bothered to check when it comes out in the States.
Because I
It
mean,
just shows up when it shows up.
Discovery being an older property, I can understand a different distribution deal.
I don't think so, but like I said, I don't really care when it shows up in the States. So when it shows up is when it shows up. Same with Prodigy, same with anything else.
Yeah,
there is a show
not-
called
yeah.
The Center Seat, which is a great documentary about Star Trek, and episode 10 has not, as of last time I checked, which is about a week ago, still hasn't shown up. And so I might have gotten it by other means, but
Really?
but they have episodes 1 through 9, but not 10.
Oh, that doesn't bode well.
Or
does
they
it?
did. I haven't bothered checking because I've watched it now in a covert way. So,
Right. Well, like perhaps the way that you taught me about on March
yes, it
5th,
could have something to do with that. Yeah,
2005. Maybe a little bit of that.
Might have something to, might be in the general territory of that. Yeah.
Yeah. Speaking, so two things. One is sort of based on broadcasts as well, but I just saw Phil Cannon's tweet about it slide into my timeline, so I'll mention it now. The BFI screening was today, March the 5th, for Revelation of the Daleks at the old BFI, because do we ever actually find out what date that's coming out in the UK? It must be coming out pretty soon if they're doing a BFI
I'm sure we
screening.
did.
Yeah, I don't think we did, actually. I don't think we have an actual date, Chris. I'm just saying. Yeah. So you know what that means.
I'm
I know what that
looking.
means. Yeah. So
Doctor Who season 20.
Down the rabbit hole we go.
I have said to, can't remember if I said on this podcast, listen, everything I say is basically to a podcast to myself when I'm just talking to myself at home. So
Please never record that. I'm just begging you, not asking. Begging.
You're right. There's no release date yet. Amazon says
Interesting.
December 31st, 2030.
Amazon
in
says
the
a
UK.
lot of things.
Wow.
Country of origin, Poland.
One day I would like, because I was like having a thing to go visit a place for. It's just an extra little hook, like a destination, as opposed to you show up at the airport and says, okay, where do we want to go? I would like to go to one of these BFI screenings one day, and if it happens to be like, oh, you know what, I want to go to the UK in this sort of like timeline, this area here of time, and if there's a BFI screening happening within there, I would probably just say, yeah, let's go zero in on that. That would be kind of fun.
As long as you can lay your hands on tickets, yeah.
Oh, I'd find a way.
I would murder somebody to get tickets. Was that out loud? Never mind.
Are they sold out events usually? Are they they're pretty hot tickets for these? I
think so.
Very much so, yeah.
Really? Oh, jeez. Well, I'll have to pull in some favors then from Whitehall. I don't know what that means, but
From the sandbaggers.
Phone up the BBC who has nothing to do with them and say, hey, I want this.
You should just go to one of these BFI screenings and just keep insisting you're watching the sandbaggers, despite all evidence to the contrary.
Okay, that's another thing I wanted to bring up. So everyone else is watching new, really well-made shows apparently and stuff these days. Well, I am not. I am the iconoclast, of course, because I do not find joy in such things. I find joy in spotting Doctor Who actors in other BBC TV productions of the time. And let me tell you, folks, I have found a gold mine. That gold mine is a BBC show from 1976 called The Duchess of Duke Street. It's on BritBox. For some reason, only season 1 is on Prime Video here in Canada. Both seasons are on BritBox. I don't know why I stumbled on it because it was 1976. It was made from BBC Studios.
I know exactly why you stumbled on it, because it's 1976, made by BBC Studios.
And I just sort of say, yeah, let's just stumble around and look at things, because there's a day that I was just sitting on the couch, didn't feel like doing anything apart from doing that. And like the first scene in studio, there's George Pravda. I was like, okay, well, we're off to a good start, and boy, oh boy, I jumped around, and Maureen O'Brien has a full-on like leading guest star role in one of the episodes. She's really good in it too, where she plays the ex-wife of John Cater from the War Machines, if you're following along at home. And as I'm watching a different episode, I go, oh, that foppish person who tried to have an affair with Jeff Ross's wife in The Sandbaggers is in this, I told Warren. And then I half jokingly said, oh, watch, there's going to be like probably the whole cast of The Sandbaggers will turn up at this point. And then literally within 5 minutes, Richard Vernon, who was C in The Sandbaggers, and Alan McNaughton, who was Sir Geoffrey in The Sandbaggers, turn up in the same episode, and it was the best. So I'll be watching all 31 episodes.
See the writers or the creators of this show 40-odd years, 50-odd years ago saying, one day some maniac in Canada is just going to love every second of this.
Yes.
That's what we're aiming for.
That's me.
And I see Lala Ward's name in the cast.
Oh, don't tease me. I know she's probably there, and so let me watch them naturally, and they rise up. And then I was taking pictures, and like who's like production assistant or something on it, like the floor manager. It's Margot Hayhoe. I tweet at it. Look at that. Bonus Margot Hayhoe, and she says, "Yeah, that was a great series to work on." So there you go. Bet you that
is cool. I will admit that.
That was.
I think
cool.
you're a little obsessive, but that is also cool.
A wee bit. Listen, you find what makes you happy in these times, right? And this is what makes me happy. So, I'm not trying to get Marvel movies canceled and picketing them outside of Disney.
You could have fooled me, my friend.
Studios. So let me just watch my 1976 BBC TV productions to spot Doctor Who.
No, I hate to break it to you. Nobody's stopping you. You have no enemies to.
It's so great. It's great. Here. I love it. I love being able to do that. So thank you, BritBox and other places that are putting old TV. I'm sorry to people who are in the TV industry now. I'm not watching your products. I'm watching something made 45 years ago.
This reminds me of that Simpsons were like, shut it down, everybody.
Yeah. You just lost yourself a customer. I'm sorry.
Yep.
I'm watching this instead.
The jig is up, to quote the critic.
Emily Cook's dropping by the way. Doctor Who magazine 545 is coming out. 575 is coming out. But two things before we get to the time. The first thing is that the BBC America AMC networks promo website still, because we have access to the promo website, still has as the most recent thing, Doctor Who returns Sunday, October 31st. That's it. They have photos from like the launch of Flux and nothing about the Christmas special or anything on their actual press website. New Year's special.
Holiday special, whatever you want to call it.
Holiday special. So obviously they don't have anything on
Star Wars holiday special.
Anything on the
Yes.
Legend of the Sea Devils. So what this means to sort of crystallize for me is I think BBC America is out. This is purely a hunch. I mean, they pulled out of the animation funding.
Purportedly, yeah.
Purportedly. Well, I mean, they're out. They don't have funding from BBC America, and because they haven't funded anything since July. Basically, it's almost a year when you think about it.
I would imagine there's a lot of accountancy book juggling happening around all this.
Well, I don't know. I mean,
stuff.
Also, it's like I don't know how much. I don't know what the money was when for the actual production of Doctor Who, because there was always at the end of the credits you say BBC America pre-production. But I was listening to the Tripods cast. If you're a Tripods fan, listen to Tripods cast because they had a lot of interviews with the actors and stuff. But they also had an interview with Richard Bates, who was the producer of the Tripods back in the 1980s, and. At the end of the Tripods, it would say it was a co-production between BBC TV and Fremantle, and you think, oh, Fremantle must have kicked in money. No, it was just to basically pay up front to screen it. Basically, is what it was. Distribution deal, and I'm wondering how much of the BBC America thing was a distribution deal, or was it actual money being kicked in, and how much money factored in as the years gone by. I just feel like BBC America's involvement has sort of diminished even since the Chibnall era began. Like you used to have the American premieres and stuff, and the Matt Smith and maybe even the Capaldi stuff, but like we haven't seen those in a long time. And and that was before COVID too. Yeah. Well, they've put in a good 10 years of support. I guess so. Yeah, it's not a bad amount if it is indeed winding down. If it is. Yeah, so I'm just keeping. I mean, they still tweet about it. They still have the property and stuff. They still run marathons and all that kind of stuff. So they did at Christmas.
Here's the thing: we all criticize Chibnall, but it's like being a showrunner is a difficult job to begin with. Being a impresario on top of a showrunner is even worse. Right. The fact that we had two people who could do it is kind of a rarity to begin with, frankly. Yeah. Which maybe is one of the benefits of
RTD too.
RTD coming back? Possibly, yeah. But I'm just saying, how many showrunners just work on their show and get it done? You know, I mean, lots of, we just don't hear about them because they aren't being out there and being a focus of the show as well.
Yeah. I'm just curious as to whether BBC America will be the home of Doctor Who after this year is what I'm wondering about. You know,
I gotta think that with I don't know if it matters like who does the broadcasting. The fact that it's BBC America for a BBC Studios property helps because you have that BBC commonality. But when you have a broadcast schedule like Doctor Who, and you have like 6 episodes and that's it for a little bit, and you got 1 and that's it for a few months, and that's it for 6 months, and that's it for another year.
13 months, yeah.
I'll put it this way. Yeah. Sony doesn't put a pile of money in and just go, I don't care, we'll do whatever. Sony's going to have a say into where that goes, whatever that might end up being.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
One would hope or think, yeah.
Well, who knows, depending on where it goes to.
I still say
Sony's starting its own streaming service. No, it isn't. I really hope it is.
I still
actually,
say HBO Max.
Sony's actively not doing that streaming service.
Actively.
Good.
Yeah,
Yep.
Which is refreshing in a way.
It is. There's too many. There are too many streaming services. Congratulations, everyone. Disney is now doing a commercial version that's slightly an ad-supported version that's slightly cheaper. Guess, congratulations, everyone. We just reinvented cable. Well done.
Now, having said that, I got rid of Netflix in order to pay for Shudder and Crunchyroll for the same amount of money as Netflix. So I'm getting more stuff I'm going to watch than I ever watched on Netflix for the same price.
Yeah, so now it's time to make choices.
And I'm no better than you, Stephen, because all I do is watch old 70s and 80s animes. And then bug friends of mine who grew up with them going, this is dumb. Aren't you stupid for having grown up at this time?
It feels like HBO Max is the home for Doctor Who later after because it's already there for stuff after 6 months. I mean, that's where it goes. It just feels like it's a natural swing across. HBO Max doesn't really have a science fiction property that sort of exists on there. Like they have their own stuff, obviously, but they don't have any. I don't know.
It makes sense, but
yeah.
If the last 2 years taught us anything, is that nothing makes sense. So we'll see.
That's true.
Well, it sounds like as well. None of us have ever seen it firsthand, but even on the streaming side of things, AMC Plus doesn't do the best job with Doctor Who. Like there's still commercials. There's
really?
quality, picture quality issues. And
is there really commercials still on AMC Plus?
That's what people have said when we did the live stream stuff during Flex and we had the folks contributing in the chat. That's definitely what someone said.
Wow.
Reduced number versus BBC America, but still some.
Yeah. And the other somewhat tragic thing, in this time of media conglomerates that own everything else, is that BBC America and AMC, like AMC is its own little thing. It's not owned by anybody else. It's this fierce little independent in the midst of all this.
But they own BBC America. Yeah.
They own BBC America, but
they own other things, I guess I should say.
But smaller fish, shall we say? And I'm wondering if Sony's sort of looking at, what, Doctor Who and HBO would be a lot bigger deal than BBC America. Just saying. Given that AMC basically was known for Breaking Bad, but Breaking Bad really broke when it went on to Netflix, and that's when a lot of people saw it. So
there's also a dramatically different streaming landscape back when that happened.
Exactly. Netflix would never do that now because they've got too much of their own gray slop to show you.
Gray slop. Thank you, Warren.
That's true.
Yeah, it is kind of. So everyone's looking around for valuable IP, and I bet you Sony is probably going to HBO. Let's look at this. Look at this. Look at what we got here.
Wouldn't surprise me at all.
We got 14 years.
Safe bet.
Yeah, I think it might be. That is a guess. That's not based on anything other than where signs are sort of leading to.
It logically makes sense, but we'll see. Who knows?
Mm-hmm. Who knows, indeed, Warren.
But speaking of Russell T Davies's return,
yeah. He posted a picture. He's starting to post stuff on Instagram. I've signed up for alerts on Instagram for whenever he posts pictures and stuff, because 2 days ago, as we record on the Friday here, he posted a picture Saturday. Well, by the time this comes out, sorry. He posted a picture of the top of his head with his glasses on his forehead, standing in front of a picnic table in front of Wolf Studios.
I'd be more excited about this if this David Tennant nonsense wasn't probably true. So I'm like, yay, okay.
Well, it just shows that he's at the studios. What's he doing there? Is he getting ready? And what I like is that the official BBC Doctor Who Instagram account has a little side eyes going, oh, which, as I said before recording, is often an indication of, oh, what's this? He said knowingly, they don't know anything at all. That's usually what that means. Whenever I see people doing that,
neither do we.
Neither do we. But so either he's there to go, oh, let's just have a look at the studio, or are they actually there to like, let's get some shooting underway?
I think I see Ollie Alexander hiding behind the hedge.
I'm just going to throw this out there. Douglas McKinnon posted a picture earlier this week as well that Good Omens has wrapped production in Scotland. So David Tennant's free. Just
see, if you talk in a knowing voice, then it happens somehow.
Free unless his wife sends him out on other jobs.
Yeah.
I'm not thrilled about that, as you know. So we'll see.
The Matt Smith rumor is bunk, by the way, from what I hear. So I know that everyone's picking up on. Oh, now Matt Smith and Peter Capaldi and Eccleston now.
Yeah. Like we said off air, or I said off air.
Right.
Any rumor that's happening a year before this goes on air is probably nonsense.
Possibly, but the Tennant one probably true. So for a little bit anyway. For a little bit. Don't worry. Listen.
Gotta point out, I like the 10th Doctor's era. I like Tennant as a Doctor. I just think it's a dumb idea to bring him back.
We've had this talk. So I'll keep an eye out for Russell the Davies on the old Instagrams, because that's where he to his credit, he still has his Twitter account. So does Stephen Moffat. They said, just here for the live streams. They still have their Twitter accounts. I bet you they follow stuff. Occasionally Moffat tweets out things. He posted something about the astronaut's wife not too long ago, as I recall.
Here's the thing about famous people on Twitter accounts. Right. It's probably not even them, and they're probably too busy to bother.
It is them, because why would they have someone else?
Bits of it, sure, but a lot of it's going to be assistants and stuff.
Given
how about that.
No, they those two just joined Twitter for Emily Cook's tweet along. So,
okay, all right. Yeah. I'm just saying, like, if you're a showrunner working on stuff, which both of them are, you don't have time for Twitter.
No, you don't.
You don't have time for anything but that show, frankly.
Well, he's got time for Instagram right now. I wonder what kind of, I'm assuming that RTD wasn't on Instagram. Was Instagram even a thing in 2008? No. It wasn't.
Twitter was barely a thing in 2008.
That's true. But I'm
should have stayed that way, frankly.
I'm curious to see what his social media presence will be once Doctor Who actually enters production.
Minimal. That's what I'm saying.
I don't know. Maybe it won't be. Maybe he'll do these little teases. Maybe he just think, maybe it would be good, especially after the last 6 years, to promote the show a little bit. That'd be kind of a fun.
We'll see.
October 2010 says Wikipedia for
my God
Instagram's initial release.
Wow.
I don't use Instagram because I'm not cool. But just skimming through some of the past photos that RTD has posted, this whole his glasses on his forehead thing seems to be a thing. Like he's done it a few times.
I use Instagram to be uncool because all I do is spread uncool dolly nonsense on it. That's what it's for.
Yeah. Well, Russell T Davies tweets Doctor Who teasers on his Instagram. So what do you say to that?
Not much, really. Yeah. Good for him.
Good for him indeed. So keep your eyes posted, because there might be eyes posted. That's a weird saying. Because there might be stuff happening at Bad Wolf Studios in the very near future. Speaking of the future, let's take a dip back to the past and the Timelash. This is a well-timed Timelash. This is where we look back each week at stuff that happened this week in Doctor Who history, mostly broadcast dates, because that's the only sort of consistent reference point that we have, apart from the death of Stalin, the actual death of Joseph Stalin, and the downloading of the leaked copy of Rose. It's a monumental week this week because the Timelash actually aired this week, but we'll get to that.
Well, we've got episode 1s of Caves of Androzani, Earthshock, Genesis of the Daleks, but if you want to start with the Space Pirates there, Stephen.
What a day in history. International Women's Day featured a lot of stories that didn't have any women parts in there at all.
What a shock.
I know. Well done. The Space Pirates, March 8th, 1969, baby. Oh, boy. A full 15 minutes into episode 1, the Doctor and his companions finally appear. 15 minutes. Amazing.
Speaking of Discovery, was it last? I know you guys aren't current necessarily, but was it last episode or a couple weeks ago, whatever? the cold open was like 12, 13
Oh
minutes.
God, yeah, it was long. It was long. Rubicon, the most recent episode we watched. Yeah, I was just like, they gotta throw in opening titles here at some point, won't they?
It was jarring when the opening titles cropped up because we're like, oh,
I know,
yeah,
like I'm into
that's
the
a thing.
episode now. Why are we doing this? Like, just throw up the logo or something and get on with the show.
Come on, hurry up! I got to get back to feelings and hugs.
Yeah, I mean, what a day in history for people who like this kind of Doctor Who. The Genesis of the Daleks, Earthshock, Caves of Angeloni, all
Sweet.
episodes 1, all on March the 8th.
Those
My
are
God.
all glorious.
Erica hates this day in history for Doctor Who. Apart
Erica is wrong. I don't say
apart
this
from maybe
often,
the
but
Space
Erica's
Pirates. Apart from the Space Pirates, I think that's probably the one that she would agree with the most. But yeah,
I've definitely changed my opinion of Genesis over the years to not being as
you're
big of
wrong,
a
too.
fan as some others.
oh, it's so
But
good.
Earthshock episode 1, I will sit and just watch, just for no good reason. I may not watch 2, 3, and 4, but I'll sit there and watch 1.
Oh, really?
And-
So, like, once the Cybermen show up sorry, spoilers, everyone. The Cybermen show up at the end of episode
Yes.
1. In a hell of a cliffhanger. That's a cliffhanger. I mean, kudos to JNT for like refusing a Radio Times cover and like closing the gallery to any people coming in, like just to keep the surprise intact. Because it's funny, like in the '60s, you look at they wanted to keep the appearance of the Ice Warriors a surprise and stuff to the cliffhanger, and like no one remembers that, but everyone remembers the Cybermen showing up at the end of episode 1. The best.
Well, I mean,
Cybermen.
they hadn't been seen in 7 years either, so.
That too. And they're the best Cybermen. Big Finish. Honestly, what is wrong with you in not focusing on the 80s Cybermen? The best Cybermen ever in the history
Well,
of the
David
show.
Banks can still do the work.
Yeah.
I
Hire
can't argue
David
with anything you're
Banks.
saying. This is correct.
I love the 80s Cybermen so much. So much. They're the best look.
I mean,
Even
a
with
lot
the
of that is
movements?
us growing up at just the right time for them. Because I'm sure people love the Mondasian Cybermen or the new Cybermen, new in quotes, like the
modern Who
2005 or
Cybermen.
whatever.
Yeah.
ones, just as much for the exact same reasons.
Suppose. Not as good as anyway.
But it's my youth. It's my youth. So it's different.
I am really upset at Big Finish destroying my childhood. That's what I am most upset about here by erasing the 80s Cybermen
Yes.
from existence.
Yes, destroying your childhood.
Yeah, it's
Just like George Lucas did.
Let's take it up with Nick Briggs next time.
I
Next time he's on the
will.
show.
I'm upset. I am wondering because Nick Briggs does the voices of all the Cybermen that perhaps he's thinking, you know what, I like this little side gig of being the Cybermen voices, and I'm not.
Nick Briggs is nothing if not a massive Doctor Who fan.
I know.
I'm sure he would happily step aside for David Banks to come in and
Why
do
hasn't
stuff.
he? He's only done it,
Also,
like, once.
he's one of the big wheels at Big Finish. I think he's probably got plenty to occupy his time.
And I think he can make the decision to have that happen as well.
There is a conspiracy here, folks. I gotta get to the bottom
A conspiracy. Stephen is a lunatic. That's the conspiracy.
I gotta get to the bottom of this. Why are the 80s Cybermen not represented? Listen, Liz Miles writes a lot for Big Finish now, and she is as big a fan of the 80s Cybermen as I am. And I haven't
She
seen
is
80s
far too busy with the chronivore agenda. Which cheers to you, Liz, for sidearming the chronivores into Big Finish.
Well done. Your next mission is to get the 80s Cybermen back into Big Finish as a proper thing.
David, for actual like Big Finish radio, like audio productions, David Banks only shows up in 2 of them.
2.
Three if you count Ultimate Adventure, which is, it's a remount of something that already existed. So I don't count that in the same way. But yeah, 2. So I mean, he's been in there.
He's been more cyber leaders in the 5 Doctors than he has been in the entirety of Big Finish.
But yeah, Hour of the Cybermen with Colin Baker and Warzone / Conversion with Peter Davison.
Well, I mean, what's the news here? That Big Finish has a lot of stuff? Yeah, okay, we know
Yeah,
that.
they have plenty of opportunity for the 80s
But
Cybermen.
not enough with, Sure.
Do we got to start a campaign? I will have to start a campaign or something.
You have fun with that.
2 years into a pandemic with the world possibly at war, this is your stomping ground.
40th anniversary of the greatest Cybermen in history is this week. There's nothing to sell. There better be. I hope,
and I'll say it loud, Orioles.
I hope we get an embargoed press release on Monday from Big Finish saying, guess what? 80s Cybermen are coming back starting tomorrow.
There is something very wrong with you.
I better see that on my inbox on Monday morning. Just saying. I want to say that.
Yeah. So, yeah, Caves of Androzani then, shall we?
My God, I am. I wish that I was a more interesting Doctor Who fan in many ways, but I wish I was more. I wish I was more interesting to have a different favorite story of all time that wasn't the Caves of Androzani. But I'm sorry, it's my favorite story of all time.
It is pretty. Deadly Sats is still my total favorite. It is way the hell up there.
So good. I'm sorry
because I'm
everyone.
old and unimaginative too.
Oh, I know. There's guns in it, and there's one woman who talks in it. And I feel bad about that, but it's just really good. It's really well directed. Damn it, Graham Harper does a great job. It's such a good story.
Speaking of episode ones, you can just sit down and watch. That's definitely one of them.
I can watch all four of them.
I can't. I remember actually being genuinely like I kind of believed the cliffhanger for episode one with the red cloth execution.
Oh, you thought he would?
I kind of did too at the time. Yeah. Yes.
Like they don't pull away. Like they just ready, aim. You're just like, okay, the cliffhanger's coming. But they shot him.
I've told the story before, so I'll quickly repeat it at this point. But at some point, and I forget who it was, in the 80s when Peter Davison's run was on KSPS, somebody told me that that they were wrapping up the show. Peter Davison was the last Doctor. So
is this the same person that told you that Russell T Davies is coming back to kill Doctor Who? Is that same person? Okay,
no,
it's a different idiot.
I have no idea who it was back in the day. This is literally almost 40 years ago.
Okay,
that's I think possibly why I believe the red cloth execution, because I'm like, okay. Davison must be coming to an end,
and then he just bleeds out for the last 3 episodes of the story.
Nothing saying he had to appear.
That's true. Yeah, because he died and carried on. Anyway, episodes 1 and 2, of course.
At the end of Caves of Androzani, I was surprised to see Colin Baker's face because of what I've been told. And this is back in the days when you can't really just pull up Wikipedia or whatever and find out what's actually happening.
It's amazing that the overly complicated and frankly stupid fan theories of yesteryear have just continued anyway, even though you can look up stuff on Wikipedia and all the rest of it. Hear me out. Ace is Susan because stop right there. So just crawl into a hole.
I was watching. Was this? It must have been on the season 24 Blu-ray set. There was a thing with like old like 80s. It was a McCoy era. Interviews with like Ian Levine and Jeremy Bentham talking about the current era of Doctor Who and just ragging on it left and right, just saying nothing kind whatsoever. And so even stuff like that has been, we're still seeing that with Not My Doctor and whatever going
Fans
on.
suck is what we're trying to get at here. Fans are terrible.
My favorite was a Toby Haydock podcast. He's talking about it was Too Much Information. Great podcast, by the way, where he was talking about the press reviews for episode 2 of An Unearthly Child. And they're saying, this wasn't as good as last week's episode. It's like literally the second weekend in the history of Doctor Who.
Of course.
It's not as good as it used to be. Second week.
Yeah.
How does this
shock
you
I would believe that
anyway?
with Doctor Who fandom. I would totally believe that.
Let's see here. Let's move on. The Web of Fear wrapped up 1968, March 9th with episode 6. Boy, that was a good episode. Good episode of Doctor Who that we never thought we'd see again, and then we saw it. So
and now we've bought it 3 times so far on home releases.
And I'll never hear the end of it. Never, ever.
Yeah,
technically 4.
We bought it 4. Yeah, we've been boring Warren out because our BBC shop order never shipped, and so we just ended up buying on Amazon.
Just
but
endless talking.
Then it finally shipped. So we're gonna have 2 copies.
I want to talk about pointless speculation. Then that text thread is it in a nutshell.
Yeah. Death of the Daleks episode 3 aired in. Is that the one with the cliffhanger? The famous cliffhanger with the door. Yeah,
the floor.
The floor in there. Yeah,
it is. And then Enlightenment wrapped up as well. Good episode, good story there.
Love Enlightenment. Loved it even then. So that was pretty cool.
Nice little wrap up.
I haven't watched it in a long time.
Black Guardian.
Yeah, I love Enlightenment. I love all Doctor Who. Who am I kidding? Listen,
what a shock.
I know. I love all Doctor Who so much that I will watch other shows around the same time with Doctor Who actors in them. That's how much I love Doctor Who, all of it. But yeah, I love Enlightenment. I even, for some reason, like Timelash. It is bad. It's a bad story.
Yeah.
It's not just bad, it's terrible.
Yeah. Episode 1 aired, as I said, March 9th, 1985. Wonder what the mood was going on, because everyone, because the week before it was Doctor Who was canceled and BBC Plot. Like, what was... I know that Timelash had a ratings boost, because everyone's thinking, oh, is it? It's canceled. We better start watching it now. They must be really leaning into this. Timelash is what they get. They get Timelash. Well done. Well done, John Nathan Turner, striking while the iron's hot there. You should have just swapped it out. Let's just not air this. Just not air it maybe instead.
Go straight to
There's a reason you're not a BBC controller.
Yeah. I have said in the past that Timelash actually is the bones, the raw materials of Timelash is the origin of basically all the celebrity historicals of the modern series. You get references to all the works therein of said celebrity historical person. You get the celebrity himself and H.G. Wells. You get references to the past of the show. I mean, it's literally Timelash is just badly made modern Doctor Who.
Stephen, why aren't you on Twitter revising opinions on reviled shows? The latest of which is apparently Batman and Robin. People are saying it's actually good. No, it's absolute garbage. There's no question of that.
Oh, the Schumacher
objectively
one?
Absolute garbage. Yes.
Oh,
so that's you and Doctor Who. Oh, Timelash? It's actually great. No, it isn't.
No.
It's just bad.
It's really bad. Poor Pennant Roberts.
But at least Timelash got picked on as getting the updated visual effects for the Blu-ray set.
In the released in 2030 Blu-ray set, yeah.
That's the one.
It's coming out June here, getting in June, so that's good news. Hey, we're only a month away from the season 17 set too, at long last. That's pretty exciting.
Oh, great! Another text chain I'll ignore.
Yeah, and Galaxy 4, although apparently that's going out to some
Barnes &
people.
Noble shipping it a month early in the States. Yeah.
Oh, for crap's sakes! Come on. Oh, man, when Sony takes over Doctor Who, we'll get day and date Blu-ray releases again. I'm sure that'll be their first priority.
I love your future mythology here. When Sony does this is going to happen.
Let's see what else we got here. Oh yeah, the unbusiest day in March is the Thursdays in March this week, because only the Frontier in Space aired this day in history. The Macra Terror started March 11th, 1967. With the scene that we shall never not mention ever again, because it wasn't included on the animated release, the clothes messer upper sequence, which they didn't have money to animate, so they just cut it. So, but it existed. Invasion of Time wrapped up with Leela and Andred.
Good stuff. This is my white whale. Even though it's probably bad, I don't care.
Culminating in their torrid romance in episode 6, and they left. Obviously,
could not keep each other hands off each other.
Yeah. Boy. What else? Oh, the Ark episode 2, the Plague. The Plague. Aired
March. This was a great cliffhanger that I love.
Exactly, you have that cliffhanger. Yeah. Did we talk about that last week?
Yep, we talked about it last week.
Okay, well, we don't need to mention it again. So we'll just wrap it up there then. How about that?
Sounds good.
That's it. That's the Timelash this week. Our weekly look back. And we're looking at the website tragicalhistorytour.com. This picture will have changed by the time that you see this, but there's an odd behind the scenes picture that we cannot place. It's some guy in a weird body costume with drawings on it, and we don't know what it is.
It looks like the designs for the woman's suit from Silence of the Lambs.
It's almost certainly CG, because he's got minimal markings on him, and then a plunger on his head. So it's probably a tall alien that they're going to CG in later.
That's got to be it, yeah, because it's a modern shot. It's not a classic Who shot, so I don't know anything about it. It's not from 19...
Or it's just completely unrelated to Doctor Who, and some guy has a plunger on his head, because that's what he's into.
That could be it, too. Just showed up for work that day. Anyway, Doctor Who Magazine, issue 575, a look back at the 40th history of the beginning of the Fifth Doctor era, came out this week. Emily Cook, once again, drops by to talk about it.
Doctor Who Magazine Preview with Emily Cook.
With both of us fresh off from attending Gallifrey 1, but never meeting in person, Emily Cook from Doctor Who Magazine joins me today. Hello, Emily.
Hello, is fresh the word, or is completely knackered more appropriate?
That is definitely it's been a week and a half and I'm still like, nope, still not quite over it yet. But
And you didn't even have jet lag to contend with, right?
no, I didn't. I always feel for the poor Brits who, who I talk their ear off in the lobby, having not seen them for 2 years, and it's like 10:30 on a Wednesday night, and they've probably been awake for 36 hours, and here I am yammering on about some stupid Doctor Who fact. So.
I mean, that's what we all do all the time, but jet lag is a killer. I always underestimate it. I was chatting to Manzip at the convention, actually, and she was saying, I foolishly thought I could beat jet lag this time, but it's got me. And it does. It just wipes you out. But the adrenaline of the event does keep you going. So that's good.
It does. If it lasted one day longer, I'm not too sure anyone would do that well. But,
yeah, exactly.
Anyway, Doctor Who Magazine 575 is out now. With some information about the next episode, The Legend of the Sea Devils. That happens in Gallifrey Guardian.
Yeah, absolutely. It's always exciting to bring new information about a new episode. So we discuss the fact, or reveal the fact, that the episode is co-written by Chris Chibnall and Doctor Who newcomer Ella Road. And just teasing ahead here, we've got an interview with Ella next issue. And yeah, we have the guest cast as well. Crystal Yu, Arthur Lee, and Marlo Chan-Reeves, who I've spoken to. I've spoken to all three of those actors ahead of the special, and I obviously can't say much at all, but they are just three of the most delightful people. Honestly, I came away from the interviews just completely smiling. They were brilliant to chat to. So I think it's going to be a really exciting special.
Yeah, looking forward to it. And the Sea Devils, of course, with the lovely design and all that. So, but that's more to come in 576, because that comes out just before it airs. I think I always misplace my 4-week calendar every time Doctor Who Magazine puts an issue out. But
yeah, I know.
So also in 575, it's goodness me, 40 years of the Fifth Doctor, which no, it's not true. There's no way that 40 years has passed since the Fifth Doctor started, but. There's a whole bunch of stuff about the Fifth Doctor era, including the World Cup of the Fifth Doctor.
Yeah, that is a bit of fun. So these World Cups were, and I claim this idea. It was my idea. So if you don't like it, then you can absolutely blame me. But it was just a way to. We started it a while ago. I can't remember which World Cup we did first. Maybe the 10th Doctor. But just as a way to do something interactive on Twitter, really, something positive and interactive. And then we just love ranking things as fans, don't we? And there's only so many polls you can do, but it's just about like a new way of doing that. And so, yes, to mark 40 years of the Fifth Doctor, which, as you say, is a while, although I feel like things seem like they're really long if you were sort of around at the time, if that makes sense. Because I don't really think much of the fact, oh my gosh, it's 40 years since the Fifth Doctor, because I wasn't alive when the Fifth Doctor was early.
Right.
Sorry if that makes anyone feel old. But then there are people that watch Doctor Who now that weren't alive when I started watching. So
yep.
It happens to us all. I'm all over the place today. What we say, 40 years of the Fifth Doctor. Yes, we thought the World Cup would be fitting to celebrate that. So, yeah, we just celebrate that era, really. And we also have an interview with Eric Saywood as well, some new interview material with him. So that's very exciting.
Yeah, it's great looking at the strife that he had to go through to try to find workable scripts during his time as script editor in the 1980s, and we see like letters written back and forth with people, basically just barking up any tree he can find to try and find a workable script, and often failing. It's kind of, there should be a sitcom in there, really.
There should, absolutely. Someone make it, please.
Yeah. I met Matt Strevens at Gallifrey 1. He was delightful. I do have the second.
Aww.
Yes, I was on stage with him. Oddly enough, at the Radio Free Skaro panel, I think stuff he was saying was being live tweeted, and then that live tweet was like being picked up by like the Radio Times and everywhere else. So I feel like we broke some news in a way. And then I was with him on the Adventure in Space and Time live commentary with Sacha Dhawan as well, and that was great. So
Oh,
yeah, so he was probably sick of me by the end of that Friday, but I'm not sick of him. And there's the second half of his interview with Paul Kirkley in this.
yeah, Matt Shevins is great. I'm glad you got to meet him. I saw him, I think, in the reception lobby area, but didn't get to chat to him, which is such a shame, because Matt is great. I love Matt. But yes, we have part 2 of an interview with Matt. I love it when we have these sort of 2-part interviews, because that really allows you to go into some depth with the interview subject. So yeah, we've got more from Matt Strevens, but as you say, maybe he said it already at Gallifrey. Who knows? No, that's not the case. I need to sell this here.
Yeah.
There's brand new information from Matt Strevens.
He left a lot of tantalizing hints at Gallifrey 1 that I want to know more about. So no, his
Great, and of course they're all picked up on in Doctor Who magazine. Not necessarily true, but I'm just saying that.
Exactly. One last thing, I just want to mention: we usually focus on the features, but the fact of fiction this month is The Waters of Mars, which I think is my favorite David Tennant story, and I really appreciate the fact of fiction. It's basically like DVD production notes, except in written form in a magazine. Alan Barnes does those, and he does a great job, and he did a great job with this one. So,
Yes, I'm so glad you flagged that up, actually, because I think a fact of fiction it's just incredible. It's meticulous. It's what Doctor Who fans love, and I think as well they're always written with such wit as well. I think there's a really DWM has a voice generally, but I think the fact of fiction has its own sort of distinctive, quite witty voice that Alan brings to it. So yeah, love the fact of fiction, and Waters of Mars is such a great story.
So
I haven't watched it for a long time, actually. Maybe I will. I also love the 10th Doctor in the orange suit, so orange space suit. So that's a reason to watch it. But no, it's a great episode, and yeah, it's great that it's made it to fact or fiction, as everything will eventually in time. I don't know what we're going to do when we run out of episodes. I don't know how close we are to running out of episodes. That's something I now want to go away and find out.
and rank it, just as Doctor Who fans like to do, is rank these things and find out which we have left to do. That's
exactly.
part of our DNA. Doctor Who Magazine, issue 575 in the shops now. Emily Cook, thank you very much for joining me.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you, Emily, who I saw ever so briefly in passing at Gallifrey 1, because I was on the Cornell Collective Friday night panel, and every time he does that, one of his first things is he springs on one of the panelists. You're going to interview this person for 5 minutes, not knowing who it is or what they do. And it was Emily Cook. Emily Cook was the guest, and so she just popped out of the audience and sat on stage and got interviewed, and then left. And that was all. That was all I saw of her. Even though we said, "Oh, we'll totally meet up," and I told her beforehand, I talked to her this past week. That's Gally. That's when you say
That's
that. Yeah,
absolutely what it is.
We'll meet up. We'll have a chat. We'll talk of this, and then you just never see the apart from you're leaving. You're heading out to the hotel shuttle. Oh, there you are.
Yeah, that's
Gallifrey
true.
1. That's Gallifrey 1. So
by not going, we simulated Galley, Chris, somehow.
Sure, yeah.
Because we didn't see anybody. We wanted to.
that's true.
Revisionist history.
In a way, Chicago TARDIS is a convention that's happening, because conventions are happening now, everyone. It's happening in November, variants permitting, of course. The first guests for which were announced, Sylvester McCoy, Fraser Hines, Jason Haig Ellery will be at Chicago TARDIS Thanksgiving weekend, U.S. Thanksgiving weekend this November. There are no Doctor Who guests coming to Calgary Expo, which is next month.
But there's a lot of other good names. I'm not going to go.
Hobbits. All the Hobbits are there.
But
yeah,
all the Hobbits, Kevin Smith and a bunch of his crew.
Oh, yeah.
Keep going. Keep going with the good names.
The Clerks people are going to be there. Billy Shatner going to be there.
Good old Billy.
Brent Spiner.
How is he still alive? The man is 90.
Listen, I've seen clips of him. I think I am legitimately impressed that he is as active and
I don't wish ill upon the man. I'm just saying, good gravy. The dude is 90.
Done a lot.
Hey, he just came back from space. What do you want? What do you want from him?
He did come back from space. I forgot about that.
Okay, how about these for the good names for you there, Warren? The Trailer Park Boys.
Don't care. Also, space iffy.
Ming-Na Wen.
She's cool.
Yes, and Katie Sackhoff.
Also cool.
Oh, she there too. Oh,
Yeah.
from the newly canceled show on Netflix that she was in. I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
What's the
Another
name of that
Life,
show?
which was
Another
very
Life.
good. The one episode I saw.
She was in that. She played that bounty hunter person on that Boba Fett show. Oh no, it was the other one, Mandalorian.
Yes.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm partially compelled to go there. I don't know why. Maybe I'm just ripping off, just letting her rip here when it comes to going to the conventions and going to public spaces again. I'm like, what the hell? Let's just go. But there's
Because you're a giant nerd, that's why.
I don't know. Plus, we're privileged in that we get media passes for these things, and so it's like, we can go.
Well, I don't, because I don't live anywhere near there.
No, you don't.
And I'm not complaining either, by the way. I'm not
Unless
in
you
any
chose
way
to make
bitter.
the trip out to Calgary.
Yeah.
Why would I do that? I wouldn't do that if I lived in Edmonton. Why would I go to Calgary ever? Calgary is the devil's playground.
To go see William Zabka, amongst others, from Cobra Kai.
Hell is William Zabka?
Karate Kid movies and Cobra Kai.
Kids movie, Cobra Kai.
Oh, so I still don't care. All right.
I haven't seen them either, Warren, so it's all right. Some Big Finish news. Big Finish Stranded 4, the finale to Stranded, the 4-part Stranded series, which has been very good, with Paul McGann's Doctor, comes out in April of 2022. It features, amongst others, Colin Baker as the curator. What?
With
Tom Baker
The
played
curator
it before.
outfit that is very reminiscent of the Sixth Doctor's outfit, but much more toned down, because how could you be anything
Is that
other
not
than
the
toned
Sixth
down?
Doctor? It looks, I guess, a little more solid color.
It's a toned down version of it, which is the best way to do the Sixth Doctor's outfit, frankly.
Yeah, Colin Baker's pretty cool, so I don't mind him showing up in everything, literally everything that Big Finish does, because he's pretty awesome. And
What if he showed up as an 80s Cyberman? Then you'd sing a different tune.
no, because it would mean they would be acknowledging the existence of the 80s Cybermen. So,
All right, you got me there.
thumbs up.
In recently watching the season 24 box set, because I've got like the big Matthew Sweet interview left, and otherwise I'm done the set.
Right.
But watching the behind the sofa stuff, Colin Baker is very, very positive about a lot of the McCoy stories in the thing. Even
Is he
going
really?
like he's saying like, I wish that I was in this story kind of thing for, I think it was Paradise Towers.
Oh, I feel bad about that, just because he should have been in those stories when you think about it. If what he offered to the BBC would have been taken up, but he didn't. The Outlaws, details about the Outlaws, the first Doctor series that's coming out in April 2022 with Stephen Noonan as the first Doctor. We talked about this a while back. The two stories are, of course, the Outlaws itself by Elizabeth Miles, who I will be emailing every single day to get her to put.
I'm sure she'll appreciate that.
80s. She'll agree. She'll want 80s Cybermen in every story that she does. It also features Glynis Barber, who, of course, was Sulin in Blake 7. She plays the indomitable Sheriff Nikolai de la Haye. And Annette Badland as the miniaturist, who is the title villain in the second story written by Lizzie Hopley, is in there, too. So Annette Badland is awesome. And, of course, Rufus Hound plays the meddling monk again as well. So that comes out April 2022. And out now, Unit Nemesis, Agents of the Volprene.
Is that the one with the quark in the back on just the side of the cover?
You betcha.
I love every Big Finish that has a monster of yesteryear just kind of off to the side somewhere.
Just hovering,
Like,
just
oh,
to let you
there's-
know. We're still there.
Well, there's the whatever, like, Coquitlam, whatever that was name
the
is.
servo robot from the wheel
Exactly,
in space.
yeah.
Just like,
Yeah, he's just kind of hanging out in the back,
yeah. Pretty cool. Anyway, that's
It's
out
also
now.
got Harry Sullivan and Bambera.
Oh, yeah, look at that. Oh, wow. What a jam-packed thing. Jam-packed. Of course, Kate Lethbridge-Stewart and Osgood, too. So,
Yes.
And the story written by, one of them is written, of course, by a good friend, Andrew Smith, the man from Gallifrey. So, So there you go. What else we got here as we wrap this sucker up for another week? Totally Tasteless, The Life of John Nathan Turner reprint is coming March 14th from 10 Acre Films. 10 Acre Films, set up by Stuart Manning. I didn't realize that that's his outfit.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah, they did a documentary on the season 24 Blu-ray set. I don't know if you noticed at the end slate there, Chris, as you watched that Blu-ray earlier this week, but yeah, they totally did the main documentary on it. Which is really
for
good.
the Here's
Season
to the Future?
24. I think so. Yeah, I think that's the one. Anyway, totally tasteless. Yeah, the reprinting the Richard Marson John Nathan Turner book. boy, that caused a hubbub when it first came out on this podcast and in general media.
Who fandom? Not the general public. Nobody cared.
Oh, well, in the media it certainly did, because that's when we sort of first heard these, these tales of John Nathan Turner and Gary Downey and, all that sort of stuff.
And so forth, yes.
So that's coming out, limited to 250 copies. This one is so if you and it's sold out, so you can't get it. So we're just telling you about it.
It is already sold out. I didn't notice that.
For nothing.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I mean that's good for them.
Good for them.
Selling out the run.
Yeah, absolutely. 10 Acre Films. Apparently Toby Haydock's got something to come from 10 Acre Films. He said on a podcast, but he's not saying what. I look forward to seeing what that is. And also, we haven't even heard this yet, because as we record this on Saturday morning, March the 5th, it hasn't actually gone out, but Disgusted Mary Whitehouse, which is it's sort of a documentary, I guess.
It's also a great title.
Yeah. Mary Whitehouse's Diaries have sort of come out, and they've been assessing these and all that. And Samira Ahmed, who is a wonderful journalist and has also appeared on Doctor Who DVD documentaries and stuff, dives into the diaries of Mary Whitehouse. She was the crusader of morals on television who made Doctor Who a target, especially in the mid 1970s. Even succeeding in the BBC altering the master tape of the Deadly Assassin cliffhanger for episode 3.
How dare she? My mortal enemy, who is mortal and dead.
Yeah, well, on BBC Radio 4, links in the show notes. It will have gone out by the time this podcast comes out, but you can listen to it on archive on BBC Radio 4. Disgusted Mary Whitehouse, produced by Simon Guerrier, who's great at everything, and with Lisa Bowerman doing the reading as of Mary Whitehouse's diary. So I look forward to listening to that, because it's very intriguing to me. So there you go. Links in the show notes, radiofreeskaro.com. We did it, folks. Another episode of
Hooray.
this podcast in the books. Can you believe it?
No,
I can't either. As I said, we're sort of we're this is our show for the next few weeks. We do have a mini scope coming at some point, whenever. It's lazy, man. We're just like, we'll put it out there whenever. Ian Stewart Black miniscope is coming down the pipe. There's a commentary for Planet of Evil at some point that we've recorded. All these things are available already to the
I've forgotten we did these
Patreon
things.
supporters. I know we did them so long ago, but they'll be coming out in the near future. And of course, Easter weekend is when Legend of the Sea Devils is airing the next episode of Doctor Who. So we'll obviously be recording that, and there'll be a live stream for that and stuff too. So this is what's to come in the weeks to come here on this podcast, Radio Free Skaro. So until next time, I am Stephen in Edmonton.
Warren in Vancouver.
And Chris in Edmonton.
So long for now.
You've been listening to Radio Free Skaro. Find us online at radiofreeskaro.com. Follow us on Twitter and Tumblr at Radio Free Skaro. Subscribe to us on iTunes and donate to the show at patreon.com/Radio Free Skaro. Thank you.